Welcome to Dreamy Tales, a place where gentle, relaxing stories will guide you into a deep sleep. On this channel, we'll be sharing soothing stories to help you unwind and forget the worries of the day. If you enjoy these peaceful moments, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you won't miss any of our bedtime tales. Let's create a space of relaxation together each night. Now, before we dive into tonight's story, let's take a few moments to relax your body and mind. Find a comfortable spot to sit or lie down. Gently close your eyes and take a deep breath. Inhale slowly, feeling the fresh air filling your lungs, and slowly exhale, letting the tension in your body gradually melt away. Repeat this 3 more times. With each breath, feel yourself becoming more relaxed and ready to enter the magical world of stories. Now, loosen your shoulders, gently massage your face, and release any remaining tension. Pay attention to any areas in your body that still feel tight, maybe in your neck, back, or legs, and gently let them relax. Next, we'll do a short guided visualization. Imagine yourself in a beautiful garden under the night sky, with the soft moonlight shining down. You can hear the rustling of leaves in the breeze, the sound of water flowing gently in the distance. Feel the cool breeze brushing against your face. Now that your body and mind are relaxed, let's step into tonight's story. But before we begin, remind yourself that you deserve these moments of relaxation, and let go of all worries as you listen to each word. And now, as you are fully relaxed, let's begin our journey into tonight's tale. Allow my words to guide you into a world of dreams and serenity. Relax and listen slowly. A chill wind dances across the deserted highway as you drive, your gaze flicking from the dark clouds overhead to the swirling leaves caught in your headlights. In this quiet, late autumn twilight, you feel almost as if you've left the real world behind. The map on your phone displays a steadily shrinking gray line labeled Country Road 17, the final path leading to your destination, Sleepy Hill Manor. You first heard of Sleepy Hill Manor only a few weeks ago, when your friend announced they'd inherited it out of the blue, from a distant relative they had never actually met. The story still baffles you. Apparently, a suited gentleman showed up at your friend's door, holding a small wooden box and an ornate bronze key inside. He explained that the house and its grounds were now legally their property. Once the initial shock wore off, your friend phoned you to share the bizarre news and invite you for a short autumn getaway. Intrigued, you couldn't resist the call of exploring an old Victorian estate perched on a remote hill. Alas, your friend sent a message this morning saying they'd been delayed and wouldn't arrive until tomorrow. That means you'll have the grand old home all to yourself tonight. An unsettling prospect, but also strangely thrilling. You sense the hush of the night pressing around you, the car engine the lone hum in a sea of darkness. Shadows of sycamore and oak trees sprawl over the winding road. Occasionally, a gust of wind causes leaves to tumble across your windshield, or swirl in small cyclones of yellow, orange, and russet. The smell of damp earth and distant wood smoke sneaks in through a narrow gap in your window. Against the horizon, lightning flickers, followed seconds later by a faint growl of thunder. It seems nature, too, is preparing for the show. Finally, you spot a tall iron gate at a bend in the road, half concealed by overgrown branches. You slow the car, rolling down the window to press a little button set onto a rough concrete post. A crackle answers. Then, as if by magic, the gate creaks open on its own. Your pulse quickens, but you force yourself to remain calm. Clearly, this is how arrivals are handled here. Re-engaging your headlights, you drive through the opening, gravel crunching under your tires. A canopy of trees spreads overhead, their branches laced with amber leaves that drift onto your windshield. You find a parking spot beneath the arching limbs of a jacaranda tree, though at this time of year, its trademark purple flowers have already faded. Grabbing your overnight bag, you step out into the autumn chill. The ground is littered with delicate, fern-like clusters of jacaranda leaves, which crinkle softly underfoot. You pick one up, running your fingertip along its stem, noticing how the tiny leaflets detach in your hand as though performing a graceful dance. A cool breeze carries the scent of damp leaves, moist soil, and something else. Faint, pungent wood smoke, reminiscent of a hearth in use. Turning in the direction of that smoky aroma, you see a small stone cottage perched near the gate. Light spills through its curtained windows, illuminating an older man wearing a flat cap and an olive knit vest standing by the doorway. He nods, beckoning for you to come closer. So you do. In clipped, efficient words, the man identifies himself as the groundskeeper. He hands you a large, ornate key, the same one your friend mentioned, its bronze surface cold against your palm, etched with loops and swirling patterns. "Everything's been readied for you," he says, nodding toward the main house. His voice is hushed, as if not to disturb the hush of the evening. Firewood in each fireplace, lamps in place, bed linens fresh. Should be comfortable enough. Then, dropping his tone even lower, he glances at the looming clouds. "Storm's on its way," he says, casting a quick look at the manor's silhouette hidden among the trees. Blustery nights make for strange noises in an old place like that. You can't help wondering if he's merely sharing an observation or issuing a subtle warning. But before you can ask further, he lifts a hand in farewell and steps inside his cottage, shutting the door with a decisive thud. It's just you now, the key, and the looming shape of Sleepy Hill Manor beyond the autumn foliage. Following the gravel path away from the gate, you enter a realm of shadow and rustling leaves. The road twists through a small grove where a gnarled oak leans precariously over the path. Under that oak's canopy, the temperature dips noticeably, prompting you to clutch your jacket tighter. Emerging from the gloom, you see your first unobstructed view of Sleepy Hill Manor. Immediately, you sense why the caretaker referred to the place as old. For, in that moment, it appears more like something conjured from a Gothic painting than a typical house. A wine-red facade stands out against the dusky sky, its tall, steep gables and clusters of bay windows forming an architectural tapestry of angles and curves. You can discern rounded turrets and tall chimneys, each embellished with black and gold accents. A wide, shadowy porch extends across the front, its roof supported by thick wooden columns. Beneath the porch's arch, you glimpse a round keyhole-style entrance ornamented with carved flourishes. High overhead, clouds swirl, and a faint streak of lightning outlines the mansion's upper levels. On the second floor, you notice an oval window faintly aglow, probably the lamp the caretaker lit for you. The entire structure exudes an air of quiet grandeur and subdued mystery. You realize you're clutching the bronze key so tightly that it's left faint lines on your palm. Shaking off your nerves, you climb the broad steps to the round arched entrance. Thunder rumbles across the sky, and the first sprinkles of rain patter against the porch roof. "Here we go," you whisper, sliding the key into the old-fashioned lock. It fits snugly, and with a slight turn, the door yields, ushering you inside just as the rain begins in earnest. A musty fragrance meets you, wood polish, old fabric, and something akin to leather-bound books. It feels nostalgic, like stepping into a realm of forgotten stories. The interior is dim, but almost immediately, a row of electric sconces on the walls flickers to life, bathing the entrance in warm, golden light. Surprised, you glance around. There's no visible switch or motion sensor. Maybe they're timed, or perhaps the caretaker set them to come on at night. You set your bag down, noticing the unusual style of the foyer. A heavy crimson rug with curled floral patterns covers much of the wooden floor. The paneled walls are carved with elaborate flourishes, and the ceiling, in contrast, is painted a crisp white with decorative moldings. There's even a plush red velvet chaise lounge in one corner, beneath which your bag now rests. One detail immediately stands out. The hall has no visible exits apart from the door you just used. No interior doors, no stairs, no connecting hallway. Just an immense built-in bookcase spanning the left wall. Rubbing the back of your neck, you wonder if you missed something or walked in through the wrong entrance. Curious, you approach the shelves. Rows of imposing leather-bound books, many with gold-embossed spines, line the shelves. Some titles are old, classical works or historical texts, while others concern architecture and strange corners of local lore. Leaning in, you catch a whiff of the gentle decay of ancient paper. Your fingertips brush the spines. One stands out. A thick, gilded volume about Victorian estates. Beside it rests a tall silver candlestick, ornate with spiderweb-like filigree. As soon as your hand grazes that candlestick, lightning flashes through the stained glass window by the door, momentarily illuminating the entire hall. A thunderous crack reverberates. In that flash, the bookcase begins to creak and slide to one side. Mouth agape, you watch as it slowly reveals a long corridor beyond. You glance back at your bag. Strangely, it's no longer on the floor, but perched on the chaise lounge's cushion. Perhaps you simply set it there absent-mindedly. Shouldering your bag, you step through the secret passage. The corridor continues the same polished wooden floors, though a plush runner rug muffles your steps. The overhead lamps cast softer light here, leaving certain corners draped in shadow. Outside, the storm intensifies, and intermittent flashes of lightning illuminate stained glass windows you hadn't seen from the outside. Portraits line the corridor walls. Each framed painting depicts a Victorian-era figure. A somber woman in a black gown, pearls at her neck. A man sporting a tall top hat and a stoic expression. Even a painting of a regal hunting dog posed by an old armchair. The artistry is so vivid that the figures seem ready to step off the canvas. Pausing for a moment, you realize the eyes in these portraits almost appear to follow you. Intrigued, you shuffle a few steps back, then forward, studying their gaze. It's almost like they're observing your movements. A trick of perspective, perhaps, but strangely lifelike. With a nervous grin, you offer a nod toward the dog painting, feeling oddly comforted by the animal's presence. At the end of the corridor, you enter a peculiar central hall, a wide, open space from which multiple rooms and additional corridors branch out in all directions. A tall wooden bar, reminiscent of a bygone era, catches your eye. Rows of crystal glasses stand in front of a huge mirror, and there's a line of bar stools with leather seats. The pressed tin ceiling overhead shimmers faintly, reflecting the dancing light of the chandelier. One can almost imagine lively parties once took place here, with guests sipping cocktails and conversing late into the night. Movement flickers at the edge of your vision. Could it be a figure passing through a doorway? You quickly turn, but see only empty space. Your mind conjures an image of a swishing, old-fashioned gown, perhaps belonging to a lady from the painting. You shake your head, attributing it to the storm's shadows and your own active imagination. You wander past the bar into a cozy room containing a worn piano. A few stools are arranged around it, along with a high-backed armchair and a narrow stand for sheet music. Letting your fingers glide over the yellowing keys, you press gently, producing a soft, echoing note. The sound lingers in the hush. Your mind imagines a ghostly recital, the notes drifting through the manor's corridors on a stormy evening just like this. It's easy to see how such stories take root in old houses. With a wistful smile, you continue onward, stepping into yet another chamber lined with towering bookshelves. This new library is immense, larger than the entrance hall's single shelf. Rows of novels, historical accounts, and leather-bound tomes command the space. One thick, black book with silver lettering reads Victorian Ghost Stories, and you can't resist picking it up. Outside, thunder grumbles, rattling the window pane just enough to make you glance over your shoulder. Setting the book aside, you exit the library and find yourself again in that central hall with the bar. Weariness begins to weigh on you. It's been a long day, and the trek from the city has drained you more than you realized. It's time to locate your sleeping quarters. Your friend arrives tomorrow morning, and you to prefer not to greet them with shadows under your eyes. To the right, a corridor you haven't explored beckons, shorter and more direct. You take it, noticing faint thunder echo behind you. As you approach, you pause, convinced you hear a faint piano melody drifting from behind like a half-remembered lullaby. You turn, retracing your steps to the music room. The air inside feels oddly cool, raising goosebumps along your arms. Yet the piano remains closed, the bench undisturbed. Perhaps it was just the wind, or your imagination layering the hush with a phantom tune. Smiling at your own jumpiness, you head back toward the corridor. At the end, a red-carpeted staircase curves upward. Holding the banister, you ascend, footfalls muffled by the plush carpeting. The manor's hush is profound here, with only the murmur of distant thunder and the patter of rain on windows to keep you company. You breathe in a faint aroma of old wood, mingled with the faint tang of mustiness, not entirely unpleasant for a house of this age. Reaching the top of the stairs, you find a semicircular landing with 5 doors spaced around it. Each door presumably leads to a different bedroom or parlor. An overhead fixture casts a gentle glow, and your footsteps echo softly on the polished boards. Recalling the lamp you noticed from outside, you suspect your assigned room might be the one with the light. Time to investigate. First door on the left reveals a quaint children's bedroom. A small bed, sized for a young occupant, stands against the wall, complete with a handmade quilt. A wooden rocking horse rests on the floor, its paint chipped but still charming. Unexpectedly, a faint draft sways the horse, making it rock gently. It's easy to imagine a child once played here, the floor scattered with toys now tidied away to some chest. The notion tugs at your heart, but you press on, your curiosity urging you onward. The next door opens into a nearly empty space. A built-in bookcase lines one wall, but it's bare except for dust motes. Opposite is an unlit fireplace with a large, dramatic painting mounted above it. You step forward, shining your phone's screen for a better view. The painting depicts a scene reminiscent of the very moment you arrived tonight. The mansion at night, battered by rain and lit sporadically by flashes of lightning. The brush strokes are so vivid it almost glistens with moisture, as though the painting itself were drenched. For a split second, you're certain you see a single lit window in its second floor, exactly where you stand now. Another flash of lightning outside highlights the painting in harsh relief, prompting a trick of your eyes. Feeling a slight unease, you exit the room, convinced your mind might be playing subtle pranks. Crossing the landing, you open the third door, discovering a large bedroom with a wide window overlooking the front of the estate. Sure enough, an oil lamp flickers on a table by the glass, flame dancing behind the raindrops that streak the pane. Relief washes over you. This must be your room. Flicking on a switch next to the door, you activate an overhead light that casts a soft, comforting glow. You lock the door behind you with a slender silver key protruding from the antique lock. The room itself is quite grand. High ceiling with ornate plasterwork, deep red carpeting, and walls painted in off-white that contrasts nicely with the dark mahogany furniture. In one corner stands a tall display cabinet containing odd trinkets, a miniature telescope, a battered leather-bound playbill, and a deck of playing cards. There's also a plush velvet armchair, and near it a small writing desk. Finally, the bed, a sturdy four-poster draped with crisp white linens. It looks immeasurably inviting after your journey. Your chest tightens momentarily from exhaustion and the lingering adrenaline of exploring the house alone. Taking a deep breath, you set your bag on the bed. You slip out of your travel clothes and change into pajamas, then freshen up in an adjacent bathroom boasting an old-fashioned clawfoot tub. The reflection in the mirror shows your face, slightly flushed with excitement. You smile reassuringly, reminding yourself, you're safe, and this is just a big old house with quirks. Flipping off the electric light, you cross to the oil lamp, gently pinching its flame until it extinguishes. Outside, the storm continues, rain tapping on the glass in a steady, lulling rhythm. The bed welcomes you with cool sheets that gradually warm against your skin. Pulling the duvet snug around your shoulders, you let your body sink into the mattress, eyelids drooping. As you drift, the hush of Sleepy Hill Manor envelops you. Thunder rumbles periodically, a distant presence while the wind gusts around the corners of the house. Now and then, a flash of lightning sneaks through a gap in the drapes, illuminating your ceiling in jagged light. The atmosphere is at once eerie and comforting, a perfect setting for anyone who loves the romance of old mansions and stormy weather. You recall the caretaker's words about storms bringing odd sounds in a house of this age. Wood beams expand and contract with temperature changes. Floors might creak under subtle shifts, and the wind could set dormant chimneys to moaning. None of it should be truly alarming, you tell yourself. Despite your best efforts, your imagination runs wild. You picture the locked doors of unoccupied rooms, the old piano in the music room, the eyes of painted portraits trailing you through hallways. The storm outside grows in ferocity, each roar of thunder resonating in your chest. But gradually, your fatigue overpowers your excitement. Your breathing slows, tension melts from your limbs, and you near the boundary between waking and sleep. Right on that threshold, you hear it, soft, faint as a whisper, a piano note or two, drifting from somewhere within the house. In your half-conscious state, it melds with the thunder. Perhaps it's a trick of the wind, or your memory replaying the single note you pressed earlier. You can't be sure. but it sends a pleasant tingle along your spine. Not fear exactly, more like the hush of an unsolved secret. Slowly, a dreamy haze steals over you. The patter of rain against the window, the low thunder, and your own steady breathing all fuse into a nocturnal lullaby. You picture your friend's arrival in the morning, the two of you exploring the manor and its grounds in broad daylight, comparing notes about hidden rooms and secret passages. There's so much waiting to be discovered. Strange paintings, silent corridors, that mysterious bar in the central hall. You want to be well rested when your friend steps into this domain. Eyes fully closed now, you sense the weight of the duvet forming a comforting cocoon. The last conscious image that slips through your mind is the ephemeral glow of lightning illuminating the edges of the thick drapes. Then you exhale a long, soft breath. Amid the storm's final rumbles, you drift off, uncertain whether you'll dream of gently swaying rocking horses, hidden pianos playing on their own, or that labyrinth of hallways and locked doors. But you feel safe enough to let go. After all, Sleepy Hill Manor, for all its mysteries, has thus far been more enchanting than menacing. Should that faint piano melody echo again, you'll likely be too far in slumber to hear it. And if the caretaker's warning about strange nighttime sounds proves prophetic, well, you'll face that puzzle come morning. For tonight, you find a certain comfort in the timeless hush of this grand old estate, lulled by autumn rain into a deep and much-needed rest.